And we're back with some more Astro Colony. And today, before we get started on our next little project, I thought I'd go over what this game is all about, because I suppose it does kind of get lost as you play it. And, well, like in most of these games, it all comes back to research. That's sort of the core of everything in, well, all of these types of games. To just get basic research, the basic science stuff, that's actually very handy. You just mine asteroids, those little rocks that are flying by, you mine those, you get them. In fact, you have a whole automated system here that will collect asteroids, mine them for you, and even put them out onto transport belts. But that's the very basic research, and that's very simple to do. Then the second type of research requires iron bars and copper bars. Also, again, they're floating by. These rocks actually get mined up, and they get spit out of these things. You send them on conveyor belts, you just smelt them up, and that gives you the bars you need to do the second level research. Both copper and iron are all just floating by. Iron rods, they're actually made from carbon and from iron plate. It's like basically iron and carbon. You just have to put it to a few more steps. And the iron and the carbon you can get from these as well. You could also latch onto islands, but we'll get more to islands in a minute. It's just, this is a really handy thing to scale up and have huge quantities of it. So, as far as I can tell, up until this research, you're pretty much doing that, except for the dirt. See, the dirt you can only get from mining an island. So, let's just go over to this one over here real quick. If you go over to this thing and you start just mining the ground, you occasionally get dirt. And that's it. That's how you get dirt. That will get you the next level of research. So at this point, up to layer 2 research, engineering and chemistry, all you need is to go get some dirt from another island. Then we get down to biology, you need carbon fiber, which is actually just made from carbon. Again, you just pull it out of the sky. Or, well, you can get it from islands as well, but pulling out of the sky, very easy and infinite. Then you need oxygen. Oxygen, also very simple. This thing over here, I think, is the one. Yep. There we go, oxygen tank. Now this takes water and turns that water into oxygen. And the water is where you take ice, and the ice gets turned into water, and the ice you just grab, again, harvesting asteroids that are flying by. So up until this point in the tech tree, all of you have needed is to just start harvesting asteroids, and you can keep producing just oodles of all of these sciences, except for the dirt one, of course. Then we get into space science, and this requires motherboards. Motherboards are dumb. Motherboards just require you to get your hands on microchips. One second. This is motherboards. They're made out of electronic parts, and electronic parts are made out of copper wire. Copper wire is made out of copper plate, and copper plate is made out of copper bars. Copper bars you've made from copper ore, and copper ore comes from the asteroids that are flying by. So it's an awful lot more steps to make this stuff, but yeah, that's basically just copper right there, passed to a bunch of machines. No other inputs or outputs required. Which means all of these things here, you just find flying by, and all of these things except for the dirt, you also find flying by, except for aluminum bars. Aluminum bars, the only way to get them is to hunt down islands. This one here does, oh, actually, this one over here does aluminum. So, right here you can see, oh, damn it. This miner over here is going along and picking up aluminum from somewhere on this asteroid. If we do a quick scan, you can see there's some aluminum ore over there. Yep, and they're going down, grabbing it, and bringing it back to this section. At which point, it's ferried onto this conveyor belt, and that conveyor belt sends it all the way back here. Now, I haven't set up any automation on this, but then that stuff you're going to have to smelt. And the thing is, the only place to get it is on random islands, and the only way to get to those random islands is to move your whole island about the place. Now, down here we have a whole bunch of engines. You do not need this many. 3 or 4 engines is all you need, and as well as that, they're very, very cheap to make. Down here is an electric thruster. All that was required to make it is 3 hydrogen. That's literally it. For 3 hydrogen, you can build one of those. And hydrogen is made using water and carbon. That's it. Water and carbon makes you hydrogen. And water you get from ice, and carbon you get from... yeah, like basically all of that stuff is easily obtainable. And once you have those engines, you can fly around to all of the islands. You just press the M button for map, and we can have a click around here. Say, this place here has 8,000 gold, 25,000 copper, 19,000 carbon. There's all these islands around the place that have deposits on them that you can go to. And once you've gone to them, you can sort of hook them on. You can see these islands sort of tied in with us. So you can see Nazo Prime there has... oh, we've almost strip mined that. We're probably going to be getting rid of it. Say, this one here, Kronos. This one has 82,000 titanium and 38,000 copper ore. So this is a decent supply of titanium, which you can't get from flyby asteroids. And that island over there is a decent source of aluminum, which you also can't get from flyby asteroids. So, that gets us up to this point. Because right now, we've got enough of this research to start, well, knocking out a few more things. So, for example, we would probably want to go on to... ooh, let's see if there's any good techs here. Ooh, spacecraft. You know what? Let's knock that out, and we'll grab electronics while we're here as well. That's pretty cheap. We'll grab signals, and oh god, there's so much. You know what? Let's just grab everything we can, except for animals. I have not found a use for animals. This lab, to run it, you need to have some scientists in it. 3 scientists, basically. Scientists, you just summon via one of these thingies over here. You go, hey, call me a scientist. You just press that button. A scientist gets called. Well, not a scientist. An astronaut will get called in. Then you train them up into one of 3 things. You can either make them a scientist, a cook, or an engineer, or your traditional red shirt. They'll come over here, they'll do some study, then they'll take their assignment from here, and then the 3 of them will go in there and start doing science. You need 3 of them to run this thing at optimal efficiency. Your scientists required. I give each one of them a sleep bed. I don't know if they can share, but I give each one of them a sleep bed. They do require this thing here. It's a dining stand, so when they're eating food, they can stand at it, and then they require food, of which we are producing bread. Now, oh god, ignore the weird spider rot for now. To make bread so that they can actually be fed, you can feed them on water and quartz. That's it. Water and quartz can be used to make food for them, but well, you gotta manually mine it. It's a pain in the butt. You're better off making a farm. From what I can tell, this farmer bot can run 3 plots of land. Can't do 4. I've put down a 4th, but I haven't watched it enough, but as far as I'm aware, it can only sort of keep 3 of them running consistently. This thing produces grain, or wheat. That wheat is actually transport belted down here, and then that wheat is sent over to this location. That just takes water and power to run. This takes just water and power to also run, and this makes bread. And the bread is what keeps all the astronauts alive and kicking. They also need oxygen, which we're producing with these things. Now, honestly, this is a weird oxygen barrier thing. If you go in here, you can find these things. Oxygen barrier, you put it down, and all it needs is power. And then it creates that big dome, and everyone in there can get oxygen. I don't know if the astronauts need it. I know your character does, but I'm not sure if anyone else does. However, that stuff just requires oxygen, and the oxygen is easily produced over here, as we covered earlier, made from ice, and so long as you have it sitting around the place, it seems you just have oxygen everywhere in your map. You could place one of those things 10 light years away from your base, and as long as it has power, it'll draw oxygen just fine. Alright, so that gives us the food, that keeps the astronauts happy. The astronauts only require 3 things: oxygen, food, and sleep, as far as I'm aware. They don't need any other fancy stuff like entertainment or anything like that. They just work all day long. But the reason I was talking about this is, if you go under technology here, food. Why do we need animals? Animals and breeding and all this stuff just makes you more food. The food doesn't make the astronauts better or improve their mood or do anything fun with them. Once you've got one type of food, they'll just eat it, and that's it. So, as far as I can tell, there's no reason to actually build anything else. I mean, the game's still pretty early on in development, so maybe that will also get introduced. Also, see, this high-tech research here, as far as I can tell, there is no use for it as of yet, as in none of the actual research requires the high-tech research. So all we're missing right now is a very large source of aluminum. Once you have a very large source of aluminum, we can probably knock out everything we want. Let's grab that, we'll grab that, we'll grab high-tech, we'll go advanced robotics, and what are we short on? Oh, yeah, okay, we're gonna need space science. Hold on while we chuck a bunch more resources into our lab. Having built the spaceship that you can fly around in, I can thoroughly say it is pretty much useless. You can fly around in it and go and explore a bit, but honestly, your platform can move faster. If your platform's not moving fast enough, just stick on some more engines. These things only take power to run, so once you've built them, you just need a little bit of hydrogen to build them, and then once they're built, that's it, power, and you're done. Oh, and as for power, solar is the way to go. It takes about 1.5 gold to make each one of those solar panels, between all the smelting and grinding and all that to get the wires. But that's just, each one of those is 1 power. Nuclear is fine, and it's quite useful, but being able to throw down that much solar means you just never have to worry about power again. And we have loads more in our inventory. We have 7,995 wire going on. We're good. We're good for a long while to come. We need to find a sustainable source of aluminum, or, well, more sustainable than we currently have. That crowd over there is going to run out shortly. In fact, let's have a quick look. That one we're getting rid of. Where is it? There. This one's got 2,960 left. It was about 8,000 when we started. So we want something that's more, maybe not 80,000 aluminum, but 20,000 aluminum. I'd be willing to settle for that. Like 20,000 aluminium will get you pretty far these days. Oh, and those beams, they're power transfer beams. For some reason, you can't wire up new islands to your place, but you can fire power across if you've got the prerequisite tech. So if we say power the ship up, we're now moving forward at a ridiculous clip. You see those asteroids going backwards? That's the speed we're moving at. It's ridiculous. We may have put a few engines forward. Now, I used to try and make us go up or down at the same time to just cover more ground so that we could explore more of the area. But sometimes it drives me through the floor or makes me levitate or God knows. So now what we're trying to do is we're trying to find ourselves... Oh, look at that. 40,000 titanium. All we need is that, but aluminum, and we're good to go. 3,000, 7,000. Okay. This might take me a bit of time to locate one. Oh, look. There's Stacy's mom. I hear that island's got it going on. Yeah, there's quite a few pun names going on in some of these islands. 16,000 aluminum. It's not what we were hoping for, but it's 3.59 light years away, and I think we're just going to pop down there and grab it. Why not? We can slot it in where the other island is. Full stop. This is going to be the annoying thing. We're going to have to navigate down there, figure out where it is. It is a little bit of a crapshoot. Oh, no. No, that's going backwards. What am I doing? We want to go down. And we want to go to the side. And you can even move this thing around the place to get out of your way. This is going to take a minute or so while we navigate this into position. We've decided to dock this planet at the rear so that we can grab a bunch of the resources back there. It's just, we've got a lot of planets connected to us everywhere. Maybe go down a scooch. Oop, that might be too far. It doesn't matter. We'll set up a docking port and it should take care of any inconsistencies in height levels. Now, this is fairly handy to do. I've done this a few times before, and I've got a pretty decent setup for making sure we can strip mine this as quickly and efficiently as possible. That's where we're going to dock this planetoid on, and then we want to make a flat platform here. Come here. There we go. Perfect. We don't want to build it onto the land because it just makes things far too confusing, or that's what I have found. Go back into the devices, grab another docking station. They don't have to be perfectly aligned. And then just hit the dock button and the two of them will start sucking each other over. And then once they're connected, well, we don't even need to wait for them to be connected. What we want to do is start finding where the aluminum ore is. Okay, there's 178 there, 1,300 over there. Oh, let me have a gander. This island is way too big. Trying to find a location to put our mining rig down on is just going to be too hard. What you normally want to do is find where the densest amount of them is. But here it's very spread out. There's aluminum all over the place. And normally you want to put your miners on top of them because the miners take a really long time to get to the nodes otherwise. So I think we'll just slap this down, a big mining station in the middle of the island. Downside though is we need a nice flat spot to put it on, so probably going to have to chop down a bunch of trees and make a nice flat spot. Oh, this is going to take me about 5 minutes. Much smashing with the pickaxe later. It'd be nice to have a nice flat top on top of this thing. Alright, give us some blueprints. We are going to go with robo miners. Yep, perfect. So this is the little robo-miner blueprint, and we can chuck that down. Oh, which direction is the transport belt going? Nope. Nope, we want the transport belt going back towards our base. So we'll just stick that down right about there. And all we need now is some power. And you'll notice there's a big Congo line of bots making their way over here. That's because the bots have realized they are required. Now, we are going to need to give this whole thing power. So for that, we're going to get a power transmitter thing. We might want to put in some flooring. The thing is, this blueprint was designed originally with floor, and then we just removed the floor because we don't need it. Ooh, actually. Oh, there's a bunch of trees in the way. I'm thinking, ooh, right about here should be good. Yeah, we might have to chop down a few trees. I'm not sure if the trees are going to interfere with the power transmission. Okay, we got ourselves an energy receiver. We'll face the power to the rear. Then we just hook that up to the grid. It's always going to be slightly different with each one of these, which is why it's not built into the blueprint. And then we have to go over there and place down a power transmitter. Power transmitter is over there, just about to get hit by a meteor. We grab an energy transmitter here. Turn that around, thank you very much. And then we just hook up some power, and that should get us more than enough power to that section. We need F to select the energy receiver. Done, and Q to leave. Alright then. Now let's see, are these bots moving? No. And the reason the bots are not moving is because we haven't actually assigned them out a mineral. We want you to collect aluminum. Exit. Now the problem is you have to do this with all of them. I can't figure out a way to copy-paste this to everything. Yeah, so looks like we're just stuck going around to each one of them individually. And away we go! And the bots just start plowing into it. And that'll give us a stable supply of aluminum for quite some time. Now all we're going to do is get that Then all we got to do is get it over there. Once we get it over there, we can start smelting it. So the transport belt here is layer 2 transport belt. And I figure all we got to do is maybe follow the power line. Give me a moment to run this. By following pretty close to the power line, we just ran a transport belt all the way down through here. Hooked it up to this thing. You can put in whatever transport belt lines. You just sort of construct them like, just say we want an outbound line on the left-hand side. There we go, we've got one. And you can deconstruct it. There's no cost to that. Then it all comes in here and gets chucked into 3 advanced smelters, at which point they get turned into aluminium bars. The aluminium bars go in here, and then we've got a decent supply coming in. Perfect. And then what you can kind of do is once this asteroid has been drained of everything, you can just fly to another one. Well, disconnect this one. You can disconnect this at any time. And once you've disconnected it, just find another one, back up to it, and hook it up a second time. Oh, one problem with those bots, though, is getting them off an island when you're finished. That is not the most convenient thing. In fact, I think we're going to do it over here. This island has been completely drained of all uranium and gold, and we're going to have to disconnect this and get all the bots back home. 1 second while we do some judicious deconstruction. After deconstructing all of the miners, or all the mines, that leaves behind all those bots, and we don't want to leave them there when we ditch this island. So, is it here? Ah, no. Let's just grab one bot. Say you. And it brings up this miner thing. There's other ways to get into this page, but this is probably the simplest one, the first one you encounter. What we're looking for is idle bots that are not on first station. First station is what we're on. So you can see all these station names here. Well, first station is the one you're born on or start on, and that's the one you want to... That's probably your main flying around platform, unless you've changed something drastic. So you can see we've got a bunch of idle ones, but we've also got, if you keep scrolling down... Yeah, here, we have idle ones as well on Prazo Prime, whatever we're on right now. We hit this and we go, hey, I would like you to go to fire station. You can see it's being transferred. And done. And then what we can do is we can start transferring all of these workers. This is a little bit time consuming. I wish there was some way to just tell everything on an island, hey, you know, come home, we're not doing that anymore. Instead, you gotta, sometimes it clicks one when you've already clicked it and it closes things down. It's just annoying. But it is what it is, and soon we'll have all the bots back home. Sometimes I feel like just leaving the bots behind and building fresh ones. Oh, even easier. I was in the everywhere section. If you just go to current station while you're standing on it, it just shows you only the ones that are on your station. This makes it far faster. I wish there was some way I could drag select a whole bunch of them and just do them all at once. But it turns out that's not possible. Just have to keep clicking, and if you click too fast, you'll deselect and... Right, that is the last one of them gone. I might just deconstruct some of this leftover junk, and then we're going to fly away from here. We don't need any of that junk. Perfect. Then we can just fly away from this island. We have strip mined everything we need. We can just leave it floating through space for the next person. What are you doing there? There's going to be some stuff you leave behind, like wires and things. Don't worry. Once you get about 5 light years away, it no longer ceases to be a problem. Well, sort of. You have to tell it. We're navigating away from that thing. Oop, out of the way. We'll just drift a little bit to the right. Come on. Until it's well out of the way. And then we're done. We are away from that island. Well, we should probably maybe accelerate forward a bit. Actually, let's see what happens when we hit full speed ahead. Yep. Yeah. That's how fast we're moving. It's kind of... How are the trees swaying in the breeze? There is no breeze. We're in space. Never mind. We're going to go hunt down another island, and I think that should be sufficient aluminium to sort us out on the science front for a while to come. In fact, what's our science looking like? Why are some of these things not sciencing? Much better. That's a little bit... You kind of get distracted on the sciencing front when you start tapping into a new island. I really should have been more on top of that. But science-wise, where is it? Ah, yes. Black holes. What does this even... I don't think this does anything yet. And we can't even afford it. We need 100 of the spacey science stuff. We'll have that in a bit. We're just 19 shy. And then Stargates? And fusion energy. I want to try out all of these. As for the expert engines, I'm not sure what the point is. I'm pretty sure we've also got some other advanced engines, but as long as you just keep building more of them, you get faster and faster. So if you really wanted to go faster, we just put down another 50 of them. You definitely got the power. All right, let's go exploring. My game did a wee bit of a crash, so lost about the last 10 minutes, but it's okay. We just had to disconnect from the island again. The game is not really handling this more late game stuff too well. It seems it's maybe not a little bit happy with the amount of stuff going on all at the same time. We need to find some more aluminium. So, anyone got? Oh God, no. There's not nearly enough. I want to find something with about at least 10,000. Once you have traveled, oh God, the game's going a bit slow right now. Once you've traveled far enough away from an island that you used to have stuff on or you were interacting with, you can go into the map view. You can see this one here. It's under the known islands because we visited it and we landed on it and did stuff on it. It's all the way back here 7 light years away. Once it's beyond 5 light years away, you can forget previously modified object. Minimum distance 5 light years. So once we click this, it's gone and forgotten about, and you don't have to worry about it anymore. It's just you need to do that at some point to clear out the backlog of all the gunk you've got probably going about the place. Sometimes islands don't have any resources. I don't know why, and it's really awkward to figure out if you've already looked at an island already or not. So every so often you just have to go in, have a look at all of them, and see, well, I've probably looked at all of these already, but I can't remember the names. The names keep changing all the time. I'm just looking for a really, really good aluminium asteroid, and we'll be good to go. Ooh. Oh, and we have researched black holes. Excellent. I don't think that helps us in any way, shape, or form. Pretty sure that's just a placeholder for future tech. There was no actual tech related to it. And yeah, we're still got stuff coming in. Let's see what's next. I would like... Ooh, I don't care about fusion energy, to be honest. And Stargate gives you nothing either. Oh, I think we've come to the end of the tech tree. I mean, okay, there's sheep herding or whatever, but, you know, this is New Zealand. We don't need any sheep. So, fusion reactor? Suppose we'll grab one of those and see what it's like. Oh, and we'll probably grab expert engines. Expert engines and fusion reactors. Let's see what they got in store for us. I think we're definitely coming to the end of this. This is about the 5th time I've seen the screen today. Ooh, yeah, I think this game doesn't handle the late game stuff so much. One thing I'd like to try as well is just seeing how much speed we can squeeze out of this platform. You know, when we're going forward now, we're doing 16,800, and I presume that's meters per second, which is pretty fast, it seems. Like, you can see the asteroids just whizzing by, and our frames per second absolutely plummet. We're getting about 19 frames per second right now. However, see those big things back there? There's some new engines we stuck on. We haven't powered them yet, so 16,800 is what we're currently getting, and I have no intention of disconnecting our smaller engines. Let's just plug these suckers in and see how fast we can go. We could go below to make this power neater, but for now, I am in a real hurry because I want to see this stuff. Oh, actually, how much power does these things take? 15 power consumption. Okay, that's a lot of power consumption. Let's see how much speed they're going to give us when we turn this on. Oh, yeah, that's 16 is about there. So that's the speed we were doing beforehand. And you can see the trees just wobbling there. That's great. Now let's crank it up all the way to max. 34,000. Okay, and it also launched us off the platform. That's, interesting. Okay, then. That should make scouting for planets just that little bit faster once we can get back to the control panel and get blasted off. I think we need a seat we can deploy so that we can, like, not get forced out of it. Maybe we can build a seat. Since those previous engines were expensive and kinda, well, meh, we went back to our basic engines and just added a whole bunch more. They're still more cost efficient than the last ones. Let's see what kind of speeds we can get out of these suckers. And actually slightly faster. Yep, and it's also flown us through the cockpit. Excellent. That seems to be very effective. In fact, let's chuck down another bunch of them and see what happens. There we go. A quick double down. Oh, I better actually save this before I activate the engines. I'm worried I'm going to lose more progress. All right, let's see what kind of speeds we can achieve, or if we've hit the actual limit of the game. Engine, 39, 48, 54,000 meters per second. That is, oh, yeah, it's. I don't know why we keep getting jerked about like that, but I don't think the game is designed to go that fast. Honestly, I'm kind of shocked we haven't crashed. The game hasn't crashed already at this kind of speeds. Huh. What would happen if we added more engines? Is there a limit to this? I hadn't really been prioritizing the production of hydrogen, so we sort of ran out and couldn't make any more engines. But I think that's enough to get a decent idea of how fast this thing can go. Maybe we can make it... I'm pretty sure it's going to crash, though, right? It's gotta crash the game? Actually, if it doesn't, I'd be kind of impressed. 131,000 meters per second. Are we moving, or... I hope we're still on the ship. Hey! Oh, that is a fair chunk away, but, I'll have to go back and check the footage. I think we were moving at a decent clip there. 229,000 meters per second. That seems pretty good. Only downside is, every time we turn on the engines, it launches us a fair distance away from the station, and then we got to boost all the way back. It's not the end of the world, but I think once you add on enough engines, that's going to become a problem. There's got to be some way to stop that happening to us. I mean, we're behind this thing. Maybe if we build a wall in front of this or something. There, that wall should stop us. Probably. No, we just pass straight through it instantly. Well, that's mildly frustrating. Maybe there's some other way to stop us from getting launched. Oh, look, I found Nilaus Island. Like I said, there's a few ones in here. There's Octavia, New Avalon. Yeah, not a trap. There's a few suspicious-looking ones there, all right. Let's try some warp speed again and see what the next islands are. We have also found the Borg Cube and Perun. Right. Well, let's just keep traveling, shall we? I think I found a way to keep us from flying off the edge of the map. All we have to do is stay way back here. Let's see what else we find. Like, we get to explore so many planets so quickly now, though. It does take the game a little bit of time to catch up. We might want to hit the stop button, actually, before the game crashes out again. Our search has finally come to a close. Please say hello to Stacy's mom. Now, Stacy's mom over here is a very, very special little astronaut. Oh, come on, seriously, we're not close enough? Well, let's just have a quick go over her stats. She has 35,000 titanium. Don't care so much about that. We got lots of that already. But she also has 34,000 aluminium. So, yeah. Yeah, that was exactly what we were looking for. We'll have to reverse up a little bit closer, but I think we're good. I think we got everything we want. Oh, and we also built a fusion reactor. Let me go over that. This is the fusion reactor, the end game tech you get your hands on. And its fuel is nuclear fuel rods and wood. It's called a polymer. So when you mix nuclear fuel rods and a couple of planks of wood together, you get... I don't know. I don't know why it's that way, but whatever. So we'll just stick those in. We got 4 of them here. And each one of them will last 60 seconds and give us 200 electricity. This is just terrible. This is just so bad. Oh my god. To get wood is easy enough. You can actually make a farm, get your wood, so you can automate the production of wood. That is great. No problems there. The other component is the uranium. We got... Oh god, we have so much of that on us even. How much have we got in our inventory? We got 4,516 rods. The problem is, by the time you get your hands on this, you don't care. All right, for example, this is 200 electricity. 60 seconds for 1 fuel. Yeah, that's great. 1, 2, 3, 4, so... So this here, 1, 2, 3, 4. These 4 stacks of double-sided solar, which is from right there to right here. That's 524 power. Or, sorry, 224 power. So these 4 stacks are worth more than that fusion reactor. As you can see... We've got loads, and it's not just that. We've got loads, and we're not even close to running out of loads. We just go down to blueprints, we can grab ourselves a whole bunch more, and let's see, there is... Oh, 1 second, we got to turn that around. I want the power wire the other side. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 fusion reactor, and that's a fusion reactor we've just built. And it runs forever. I don't know if solar is overpowered, or if fusion is underpowered. My feeling is that fusion is underpowered, realistically. But then again, you don't really need that much power. I mean, we've been chucking down how many engines, and it hasn't actually done anything to our power grid. I also can't figure out how much power is on our power grid. I just sort of kept throwing things down, and so long as everything's functioning at 100%, for example, you just click on things, and if it's at 100% efficiency, you have enough power. Oh, there it's telling us. Network consumers, network production. We have... 2,000 being consumed and 2,675 being produced. Network load 76%. Ah. Oh yeah, I saw that at some point and then completely forgot about it. Oh well, who cares? Technology-wise, we've researched everything that seems to do anything, bar sheep. We're just not interested. Sorry. Yeah, all the farming stuff we don't really care about. This here is where you produce your little vehicles and stuff. You can produce your rover and your spacecraft. The rover is completely pointless. It's for exploring an island, I suppose, but you can't do anything with it. It's just, you're better off flying, to be honest. And the spacecraft, yes, you can hop into the spacecraft and you can fly about the place. It's faster than flying in your ship, but why would you do it? You're just going to have to come back to your base anyway. And your base can move faster. As you can see, your base can move incredibly fast. Oops. And damn it, I'm pressing the wrong buttons constantly. This thing handles like a brick. Why can I not strafe left or right? Weirdness. Alright, we'll just land it. Does have an automated landing sequence, which is pretty cool. However, it does seem to be a design vehicle section. So I think what's going on here is it hasn't been expanded upon. I'm pretty sure you're going to be able to put drills and stuff like that on it and use it for excavation and things like that and give it boosters, because that would be important. Thing is, you need dirt and a few other materials like quartz and things like that out of islands. And that's annoying to get because you have to go up and just sort of manually do this. And it's not... Yeah, it's not great. You don't want to be doing that late game, especially for quartz, dirt, stuff like that. So I think those things would help mitigate that, or maybe there'll be other things introduced. So there's definitely a lot of stuff that still needs to be worked upon. Also, performance as you get later in the game gets a bit iffy. I suppose the big things to be concerned with is mining platforms. Stick them in the center of an island and transport belt the stuff out. The mistake I made at the start was I put the miners at the edge of the island, and then it takes them so long to get to the center of the island. Like, these miners are just so slow. You're better off moving the entire mining platform inland. 2, when it comes to power, forget about nuclear. Don't even bother. It takes too much time and effort to get to it. Just use carbon. Carbon power is just more than sufficient, and go straight for gold. Get yourself a gold island up and running early, and you can just start churning out absolutely oodles of solar. 10,000 gold will generate you about 8,000 power. So, yeah, pretty handy. Even a few thousand gold will keep you in power for ages. And then for the island, since you can't really transfer power until you get these thingies later on, which is a fair bit down the tech tree after nuclear power, just stick on 5 coal burners or 6. And 6 carbon burners, you're good to go. In fact, one very important thing it took me a while to figure out is these auto asteroid catchers, you can tell them what to target. So you can tell them, hey, I want you to target carbon asteroids. Now, they won't get all carbon, but they will get about 80% will be carbon is all they'll produce. I'm really ballparking that figure there. But it does mean if you just want to set up a bunch of these to collect lots of power, you totally can. And then stockpile lots of it to run your islands until you get up to the energy transmission things. According to my save, I have about 20 hours and 7 minutes in this game. And I think I went probably further than you should, but let's just say there's about 20 hours of content in this game. Is it worth it for the current price tag? Probably. Really depends what you're into. Am I interested in where this game goes? I don't know. I'll probably come back at some point if it gets any big improvements, but from what I can see, interesting game, burn 20 hours on it. Yeah, I'm pretty happy. Totally blanked it. There's this radar you can build, and you have to get an engineer specialist to run it, and what they do... Wait a minute. That is the exact same screen that they've got over here. Yep, exact same one. Ah. Oh, never mind. What that does is when it's operational and you feed it with the necessary resources, it updates your map with all the dangerous things. So, for example, there's meteor rain over here, and there's a storm over here. It'll also show you black holes and things like that, though I think black holes may just show up naturally. I don't know what to care about those. I've been flying around like a lunatic, and I haven't ran into any of them while I've had it off, so I just stopped looking at them. They just contaminated my own unknown section. I presume that's stuff that's going to get improved, but for now, I just... turn it off. Couple of downsides. Well, not so much downsides as a couple of things I would mention. When it comes to all the production chains in, say, Factorio or Satisfactory, you'd like to get things perfect and you like to line them up and you make sure you have things of equal numbers going in and ratios and getting things just to perfection and clock. No. This thing is just... does it spit out a little bit too much and overload the next machine? I don't really care. For example, I should probably have more smelters here to even out because they're actually backing up and they've got loads of titanium in them, and I should probably put in an extra 3. Don't care. One of these is probably enough for my needs. 3 is overkill. We've got 2,500 aluminum and we've already got all the research. Like, you don't need to have any golden ratios or do lots of math, which is a negative for people who are used to Factorio and like to have things just working like a perfect clockwork. However, for most of us casuals, it's like, yeah, I'm absolutely perfectly fine with that. It actually removes a lot of stress and that whole panic about getting things absolutely perfect. If I had one big, huge criticism of this, it would be the early game grind. You see, when you start off, you're going to want more space. The problem is more space requires flooring. And the only way you can produce flooring is with these things, which cost these iron plates. These iron plates are made from iron bars, and you basically just need so much iron. It's incredible. Like, for example, see that thing there? That's a 5x5 sheet of iron. That means you need 25 iron bars just to place that. The amount of research you need that needs that much iron early on is tiny. So expanding your platform early on is cripplingly expensive. You have to just build a huge dedicated production thing for getting iron, or find an island that's covered in iron. I mean, it's not the end of the world. It just I found it initially really grindy getting up the necessary iron. If I removed all of that, it'd probably be about 3 or 4 hours less playtime on it. Outside of that, yeah, quite enjoyed it. I'd come back. Anyway, I'm going to cut this out here. For now, let's just warp. Actually, the best way I found to avoid getting knocked out of your seat is to access it from way over here on the other island. You can still access it. Then I can hit warp speeds. Oh, actually, we hooked up to Stacy's mom. Yep, we're hooked up to Stacy's mom. We'll taking that with us. And then you can just, like, jank straight up to warp speeds. And boom. Whole new set of islands to explore. Anyway, I'm going to cut this out here. I hope you enjoyed. Good luck.